Hey folks, this is CS50 Mario List done in 5 minutes. Now first let's go over the prompt. So towards the end of World 1 in Nintendo Super Mario Bros., Mario must ascend right-aligned pyramid blocks and we'll be recreating that in C. So for now, open up CS50's website and follow the instructions. Make sure you have your GitHub account and Visual Studio Code open right now. Let's go over the process to actually code a thing. Let's go over the puzzle pieces they also provided us. We are provided the for loop, the getInt, the print function, and the void variable. Let's try to understand these tool pieces so we can create the program. The for loop is repeating a program a certain number of times. Simply said, the program will execute its program a certain number of times until the variable, we named it I here, breaks the equality symbol. The I++ means that after the program executes function, the computer adds onto it by performing I plus I, so I will be 2. And it means that I is an integer, so it can numerically change. The getInt asks the user a numerical value. This is for getting the height of the Mario staircase. And the print function, as in its name, prints the characters out of the terminal, like hello world like you've done previously. A void variable in this Mario List exercise would act as a function to encapsulate the entire program under the main for the computer to execute it. The importance of functions will become explained later on through your journey in CS50 as you utilize more than one function. With the puzzle pieces in our hands, let's think it through. The program wants us to ask the user the height of the staircase and create the staircase itself. Asking the user, so we'll be using the getInt function, and we'll be using the print function to create the staircase. The catch is that as the height increases, the computer must print more hashtags to build on it. Let's treat this in another way. Let's look at this as a summation problem. And of course, the nature of summation is repetition, to add something an n number of times, just like the for loop they gave us. We can now reason that we'll create a program that would take the values of the user through getInt and a for loop with the print function to create a staircase that would add on more hashtags with rising user input. So now with all this planning in mind, let's start coding. Now, since we're complete with the planning, let's start coding. Instead of taking time to follow along and type up, I'll break down the solution process in each step. Now, the first step is to have a CS50 library so we can access the Harvard CS50 libraries in C. So now the next step is to get user input and keep looping until the valid height is input as per the planning. Now, first, we need to declare a variable int height to store the input, and we can use a do-while loop to get the input continuously. If the height is less than 1 or greater than 8, we'll loop again to get a valid height. Inside of the loop, we obtain input from the user by using CS50's getInt function, and we pass as a parameter to the process, as a parameter, the prompt for the user, which is height. And now the next step is to print each row one by one so we can have the staircase that Mario will walk through. An important thing to notice is that a for loop should be used because we are printing height number of rows. So if height is 5, we are guaranteed to print out 5 rows of text. Now, in order to replicate this, in each row, we must calculate how many spaces to put on the left. Now, with a simple subtraction, we can see the height minus I gives the number of spaces. Thus, a for loop of height minus I times can be used. And in this loop, we can use printf and blank space to print a blank space for the overall total of height minus I times. Next, we need to print out the staircase itself. We're going to print out hashtags for them. We can see that the row number is also for the number of hashtags to print. So a for loop of I times can be used. In a loop, we can use print hashtag to output the character. Make sure you put in the respective columns. Now, one very important thing to do after each row is printed is to create a new line. Otherwise, everything will remain on the same line and not create this Mario shape we want. Thus, we can use print/n to print out a new line character. And make sure you have the formatting. You guys will learn about camel space later, but for now, make sure you space everything out so you can read it. It's more readable. And if you want to run the code, make sure you type in things I do. cd Mario Less, and then you have /Mario, and you can input the height as much as you want to. If you do anything that's less than 1 or more than 8, it's not going to input anything, but if you do something like 7, it'll print something out. That was Mario Less done in 5 minutes. Thank you. This is brought to you by FTC Team 16306, and thanks to my special editor, Gavin.